In this video, I'm going to analyze the show Unidentified, Inside America's UFO Investigation, Episode 5. That said, in Episode 3, Sean Cahill, who served in the Navy for 20 years and was the top security officer on the USS Princeton, stated the following regarding UFOs. If Princeton had it on the radar, UFOs, why isn't this on the news every night that something we don't understand is present in our atmosphere, coming and going as it pleases with absolute impunity over our military? You know, Sean, I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm gonna up the ante with my own sentiment. Why isn't it on the news every day of the year that UFOs tamper with nuclear-enabled missile silos, not only in the United States but also Russia? Do we really want to live in a world where hyper-advanced technology tampers with nuclear launch facilities, and this fact is ignored? In Episode 5 of Unidentified, UFO incursions into areas with nuclear capabilities takes center stage. According to the documentary UFO and Nukes, in the beginning of December of 1948, anomalous vehicles started to do incursions to the following locations: American laboratories, bomb storage depots, weapon test areas, as well as eventually ICBM sites. And this kind of thing is ongoing. It's still occurring. In fact, according to former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, he stated in a recent interview in New York Magazine in March of 2018 the following regarding a very recent UFO incursion into a nuclear launch facility. 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month now, up in Montana, they had another strange deal at a missile base up there. It goes on all the time. Considering the long history of UFO incursions into nuclear-capable sites that has occurred to both the Russians and the Americans, and that is still continuing till this very day, there are basically two interpretations to make as to how to perceive what is occurring. I'm going to leave you with two quotes that underscore two separate perspectives regarding these intrusions. The first is from Luis Elizondo. We seem to see these things, UFOs, around U.S. nuclear equities, nuclear power, nuclear weapons, and nuclear technology. There definitely seems to be some sort of correlation. And if I see something that potentially has the ability to either threaten or disable our strategic nuclear capability, I have to consider that a threat. And here's a quote by Robert Hastings, a world-renowned researcher into UFO activity at nuclear weapons sites. Having investigated these incidents for decades, my opinion is that those who pilot the UFOs are visitors from elsewhere who are engaged in these provocative actions at American and Russian nuclear missile sites to send us a message that we humans are playing with fire, that to engage in nuclear warfare is essentially suicide. My personal opinion on these incursions into nuclear sites via non-human technology is that this is a potential threat. And what we need as a world community is as much data as possible to have any hope to realizing or getting as close as we can to the truth of what exactly the agenda is of this non-human technology when it does these incursions into these nuclear sites, whether it's ICBM sites, weapon storage depots, weapon test areas, and the like. And I don't feel we'll make proper headway until we blow this thing open, until the brightest minds throughout the planet from various disciplines can enter a public discourse, as well as an effort to delve deep into the research of these incursions until this rises to the top and becomes a fixture of our planet. We, as a human civilization, are simply not doing as much as we can and as much as we're obligated to do to get to the bottom of what the hell is going on with these UFO incursions into nuclear-capable sites. George Knapp explained something truly fascinating in Episode 5 of Unidentified. During the 1950s, the United States Air Force detonated over 100 atomic bombs in above-ground testing in the Nevada desert. What's not well known is that the United States Air Force actually hired people to look out for UFOs during these tests. Here, George Knapp conveys this revelation in great clarity. I had more than a dozen people who have worked out there at the test site during the height of the above-ground testing period who said UFOs were commonplace. There were employees assigned to monitor UFO activity in connection with the test. Sometimes they'd appear before the tests. Oftentimes they'd appear after it. And once in a while they would appear during these tests. All of the nuclear facilities, Los Alamos, Livermore, Sandia, Savannah River, all had UFO incidents. In 1966, Minot Air Force Base in Montana had a UFO come over the missile silos. And one of those missiles was actually activated by the UFO. And once the UFO left the area, it was deactivated. So it's not that these UAPs are only deactivating the missiles or only surveilling them, which is what they mostly do, but there have been incidents where they've actually turned them on and got them ready to launch, which is quite disturbing. And this has happened also in Russia as well. There was a great exchange between Luis Elizondo and George Knapp regarding the situation we find ourselves in. Just think about the synopsis. At the facilities where we were first designing and building nuclear weapons, there were UFOs. At the facilities where we were testing the weapons, there were UFOs. At the bases where we deployed those weapons, on the ships, the nuclear submarines, all those places, all the people working there have seen these things. Are they all crazy? Because if they are, they shouldn't have their hands on nuclear weapons. Elizondo responds, agreed. Either mass delusion or they're all right. But either way, we need to look into this. Knapp responds, yeah. When you examine the sheer volume of witness testimony over many, many decades of personnel who have seen UFOs at nuclear sites, and you consider how sober these people are, that they're trained observers, that they're entrusted to monitor, protect, and even initiate the launching of an ICBM, these are people that are, shall we say, competent. And yet over many decades, over and over again, they come forward and say, yep, UFO came over the installation and either surveilled and or tampered with the weaponry. The sheer volume of witness testimony and the caliber of these people is so high that I'm prepared to say that this reality is nothing less than fact. And if you're a skeptic and you doubt that this is fact, allow me to posit a question. Why is there no government documents or witness testimony or historical record of people working at breweries or chocolate factories or car factories in which the personnel there have seen UFOs surveilling and or tampering with their operation? Are you asking me to believe that people working at nuclear sites that are entrusted to launch nuclear weapons and guard nuclear weapons, that these people are prone to delusion, hallucination, lies, and that people working for car factories and breweries and chocolate factories are a higher caliber of people and therefore not as prone to coming up with these cockamamie stories about UFOs tampering with their operations? I'm sorry. Facts be facts. Do I have a smoking gun? No. But if you look at the depth of the data, common sense dictates one conclusion only, that these nuclear installations are being visited by highly advanced craft. They are surveilling this craft. They are surveilling these nuclear installations, and they are tampering with them. And there's no question about that. I'm going to end this video with a message to governments of the world. Please listen closely. The worldwide UFO cover-up is an injustice against humanity. It's also an injustice that will be much easier to forgive the less time that goes by, and it continues. Governments of the world, strike while the iron is hot. You won't regret it. Don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. Link is in the description below. Or you can even become a patron. Or you can just slap a like on this bad boy and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.